As long as we have a named storm out there, and we've got two of them, we're getting close to having two hurricanes. We have at least one in Humberto, but Imelda is getting closer to it as well because that's strengthening just a little bit just off of our coast. But the good news is, after all kinds of models here, models there, it looks like Imelda will stay offshore. And in fact, it should start turning away later tonight and into tomorrow. Going to move off towards the northeast and then the east-northeast. So let's get started right there. This, it's not very often you look at a satellite picture like this. Florida, Imelda, Humberto, Bermuda. I mean, just kind of crammed in there in the middle. There's a little bit of wind shear in here as well, too, and parts of the outside of Imelda is actually affecting Humberto, but you can see it's more shear. Look at the centers here, and there's not much right here. Right, but all the cloud covers over there. Still some outflow aloft, but there's some wind shear in the mid-levels there that's blowing that off to the south and the east. So that will actually affect Imelda as well. Most of that shear is up into here and coming down. You see how some of these clouds, are kind of looped like that? That is the wind shear that I'm talking about there. That's pushing on that a little bit. So let's dive into the numbers now. We'll start, of course, with Imelda right there off the coast. It's about 200 miles from Daytona at this point, all right? About 190, 200 miles off the Daytona Beach Pier. It has winds right now at 65 miles per hour. The pressure has dropped to 985. It hasn't dropped a lot. It was 986 earlier this evening. The 8 o'clock number says 985. 985. It's still moving to the north at 9. Now, tonight at 11 o'clock, we'll get another cone. We'll get some more updates. It's almost drifting a little north-northeast. It might still be out of the north at that point, but the key to this is it's not anything westerly. Okay, so Florida doesn't have to worry about that. And what we are getting, you can see here on the satellite and radar, are just a few outer rain bands on the backside. And that's it. In fact, that was our rain that we saw today. And even at that, it's just low-topped showers, fast-moving showers moving quickly through the area. And those are tending to die out now as we go through the overnight hours anyway. So not a whole lot for us. A breeze over on the East Coast. We're going to talk to Jen Titus here in just about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. And she's out on the beach in Daytona, and not too bad winds. I think tomorrow actually gets a little bit windier for the folks across the state there. There are the forecast track. This is the latest track as of 5 o'clock. All right, and you can see the numbers there. 80-mile-per-hour winds by midday tomorrow. That makes it a hurricane. Okay, so we're going to get another hurricane to add to the list. Then by Wednesday afternoon, 90-mile-per-hour winds, and that's right by Bermuda. You see the Bermuda right there in the pink? That is a hurricane watch in effect for them. All right, because it looks to me, and in the forecast track, that Humberto does something like this. And obviously, you can see the track here for Imelda. Imelda, I mean, after this whole season that Aaron and Fahrenheit, all these storms have been kind of going around Bermuda. They've dodged all of them. The one that they're going to get now, at least it looks favorable for, is Imelda, who was supposed to go into the Carolinas. And it's just been wild for this whole forecast for this storm. But I do expect it. Look for that turn to the north-northeast later tonight, maybe even northeast, probably north-northeast. And then that means it's doing what it should be, okay? Now, let's look at Humberto. This goes back 36 hours. Look at that eye. Look at that. I'm going to back it up even more so you can see it again. Look at that thing. Just amazing. Cat 5 at one point, obviously now down to Cat 4. And with that shear, it's weakening it, and it's filling in the eye there. Now, I don't think it gets much better as it moves. It will be moving eventually with the shear, but this will be a weakening system as it moves by. But that's not saying, it's 140-mile-per-hour winds. Pressure's down to 942. There's going to be a lot of wind with it. Movement right now is out of the north-northwest around 13 miles per hour. There's the latest track. This is the 5 p.m. track as well, and you can see how it keeps the center. And remember, the center is where the highest winds are going to be, okay? It's going to keep it somewhere out here, but Bermuda is right there. So even the right side of the track is 150 to 190 miles from Bermuda. All right, and that's where the highest winds will go. So when you see, 105 by Tuesday, tomorrow afternoon, and 85 mile-per-hour winds by Wednesday afternoon, obviously that's even further away. That highest wind's going to stay offshore. Ironically, they're probably going to get gusts in the 70s if not even higher with Imelda moving by. All right, so that's the forecast track with that. Now the forecast model's finally in agreement, and that took some time. I mean, you can see what's happening now with Imelda. I mean, look, Imelda was doing this. First it was coming here and then stalling actually right about here. A bunch went something like this. And then some are saying out, you know, and then some are saying up to here. The first track by the Hurricane Center had it come to right about here, and then 12 hours later it was right about here. And as a result of that, you know, you're talking in this area in here, rainfall totals 15 to 25 inches would be possible if that first forecast that came out by the Hurricane Center was legit. All right, thank goodness that didn't happen. What it was then saying was, okay, it's going to come in here and it's going to do this. All right, they were all saying this with one or two that would go out like that. And obviously now you can see it's all going out, but even these numbers changed in the last 24 hours because it was kind of come up a little bit further to the north and coming out. And it's going to go out even earlier. So still to this point, this storm is changing. Now, these are current winds across the state. And another picture that's just wild to see. I mean, look at that. You can see just the winds wrapped around the center out there, and certainly not a lot for us. This area out here is basically got some pretty good winds in it. But what's going to happen is we're going to end up seeing on the East Coast 10 to 20 mile per hour winds all night tonight. It's not a lot, but there'll be some higher gusts. And then tomorrow, some of this red you see here, that's basically getting into the 30s. We're going to get that right along the immediate coast. I'm thinking some gusts in the mid 30s, maybe a gust or two up towards 40. But just a gust, nothing sustained. The problem with that is, I mean, it's good that it's not a lot, but it's enough to cause, obviously, the surf, but also a lot of erosion, a lot of beach erosions. I mean, down towards West Palm, they've seen a ton of beach erosion because it's a north wind, right? Excuse me, and that is basically taking sand from here and putting it down there, sand from here and putting it down there. Typically on the East Coast of the United States, erosion patterns go from north to south. All right, but and here's one of the reasons why, honestly. But when you've got a tropical system just blowing like this, I mean, you're really, the waves come in, they loosen the sand up, current's going southbound, it's taking it with it. Yeah, it's bringing more in, but it's actually going to do a lot of erosion. And I think up in that Daytona Beach area, that's why we're going to go out there and talk to Jen. Here's the forecast for winds, though, by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So I was telling her, I was like, you know, I think the first half of the day has the windiest conditions over there, but we might keep that through about 2 to 3 o'clock. You see the reds here along the coast. Because the afternoon, the winds usually picks up a little bit with just the normal sea breeze that's happening. But then as the sun is setting, that storm's moving out. All right, it's taking the winds with it. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday. You can see it really comes down. Meanwhile, I put the numbers in there for Tampa. It's not a lot of wind, but the reason why I put that Tampa number in there, watch this. This is Thursday afternoon. The storm's way out here. What is this? Look at that northeast wind right there, right? That and it actually gets breezy for us, both Thursday and this is Friday as well. We're got 15, 20 mile per hour winds Thursday and Friday. And in fact, I think the dew points drop a little bit. So it's not going to be full on fall like, but it's going to feel pretty good, even with some rain chances as we get into Thursday and Friday. But what's happening is if you look to the north, there's an area of high pressure developing, and it's actually coming in from Canada, dropping down to the south and the east. Meanwhile, we've had lower pressures here. So the difference between the pressures here and the pressures here is this pressure gradient that you see in the middle. Okay, and that's why we're getting that. And so that's going to be for the southeast coast. All these areas that we're watching for Imelda to go into, the Carolinas and Georgia, and even Florida, are going to get that a little bit of a breeze. Nothing terrible, but that will prolong the waves, it will prolong the rip currents, it will prolong the erosion that they're going to see over on the East Coast. Now, rainfall, dodged the bullet here. All the heavy numbers are offshore. In fact, there's not even a lot near shore except for this area here down south, but this is different. This is actually a stalled frontal boundary that'll be sitting here. Let's see how to do that. It should be this. Yeah, that's what they're going to see. This boundary is slowly going to drift northward. And by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's sitting right over here. So that means our rain chances will go up. Now, the bullseye that I was talking about in the Carolinas, look at this. I mean, they got rain today. It's tapering off, but most of it stays just offshore. They have dodged it. It looks really good for them as well. I got family headed to southeast North Carolina, Oak Island area. for a golf outing. I was saying cart path only, but things are actually looking pretty good for them. So that's where we're at with the tropics. And I must say, let me show you the GFS real fast, because the GFS likes to spin up crazy storms way off in the distance. This is the GFS model. You can see the 2 storms heading out. That is Wednesday, and that is Imelda right over top of Bermuda. But then notice as we get towards this weekend coming up, a week from today, that's what you're looking at right now, and then look as we get into next week. This is almost a week and a half out, and no major storms. That's good. That gets us almost to the middle of October, maybe not that far out, but looking at the model runs going out about 2 weeks, fairly quiet. We're watching the Gulf, obviously, and we're watching the Western Caribbean, and so far, so good. All right, 10 minutes after, it's about 11 minutes after 8. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We're going to talk live out to Jen Titus at Daytona Beach.
I was driving when an 18-wheeler turned in front of me. I locked up my brakes, bam, slid dead into the truck. Bloody and hurt, I was loaded into an ambulance, and that's when I put out my phone and called attorney Dan Newton. Dan jumped right on it. He was in my corner the whole way. He fought the fight from beginning to end and got me $1 million.
Involved in a car accident? Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Dan, your awesome team deserves 6 stars. Thank you for winning my case.
Weather impacts your life every day. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. You can find out about any change in the weather with our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app. Just stream for the latest forecast, any weather impact alert, updated tropics forecast, and take a live look at the radar. Anytime you want, and it's free. It's just one more way we're helping you stay informed, prepared, and connected. Stream 10 Tampa Bay Plus.
And it's like a movie script. It's family rivalry, betrayal, and murder.
They cover America's most fascinating true crime stories.
One way or another, that's an execution.
Absolutely.
Every case.
Who would want to hurt him?
Every clue.
This is dynamite for an investigator.
Every mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Does everyone's jaws drop?
Dateline, 5 times a week.
Watch weekdays at 4 on 10 Tampa Bay.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
All right, 13 minutes after 8 o'clock, I hear we are ready to go out to Jen Titus out at Daytona Beach. She's been out there throughout the afternoon. Jen, I'm seeing winds in the teens, a few higher gusts, and just a couple showers out there. What else does it look like?
Hey, Bobby, yeah, what a difference it makes once the sun goes down. Really the first time we're seeing the wind starting to pick up. It's been mostly a quiet day. Sun goes down, wind picks up, and the beach is completely empty. There were people out here all day just going, looking at the waves, looking at how high they got, because that's the story out here on the East Coast, is that water. That's where the danger lies. There's a warning from the Florida Division of Emergency Management all up and down the East Coast of Florida, telling people to stay out of the water. Boats, stay out of the water. It is not safe. We can take a look over here just to see. I know it's dark, but if you can see kind of the leaves blowing there, that kind of shows you the wind gusts that we are dealing with out here. The beach, good thing it's completely empty. We talked to officials all day today, lifeguards. They said people are listening to those warnings. Even the surfers, Bobby, we talked earlier, they are staying out of the water. This is not the type of waves they want to see. They're big, but they're choppy. It's dangerous. We got that rip current warning. The red flags are up, and that's why they're asking people stay out of the water. And like we just heard you say, Bobby, that it's still going to be like this, right, until sometime tomorrow?
Yeah, it looks like you'll probably more wind than that you've seen so far through about 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then it will slowly come back down. How's the erosion looking? It looked pretty good where you were at. I know there's some spots up to the north that are bad, but looking good near the pier there in Daytona?
Yeah, it is. I talked to officials earlier today and I asked them, are you worried about erosion? They're really not. They say over the weekend they prepped for this. They storm prepped. They thought, remember, it was going to give them a little bit more than it is. So they cleared out gutters. And then once they saw the storm was taking east, everybody kind of back down, and they're just asking people again to watch out for those waves and get in the water. But Bobby, they're really not too worried about the erosion. Let's see. Can you see the pier over there? Can you see those lights? That's where the pier is that you see over there in the distance there. And we're starting to see the tide come up just a little bit. But again, Bobby, really, it's only the wind here in the water people are kind of paying attention to right now.
Jen, how many years have you been? You've been here a long time. In the 18 years I've been here, this is the first time I've seen you do tropical coverage without rain gear on. It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I said the same exact thing. I was like, this might be my first storm that I'm not going to get wet. That's okay. If we just monitor this, everybody else stay safe. They stay dry and they just stay out of the water until you give the all clear.
Thank you very much, Jen. Thanks to the photog. You guys come on in. We'll go get a shift beer and have a good night out there. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Bob.
All right. Yeah, Jen, she knows her way around some hurricanes, that's for sure. Just some waves, obviously, but some rain coming in, just a few some, I don't want to call them squall lines because they're not really even like that. It's just passing showers. I do think if you're heading that direction, if you live over there, there will be a little bit more of that early tomorrow morning and through the first half of the day. And then things should slowly start to come down. The wind will go up a little bit. And I think what she's seeing right now, that 15, 16 mile per hour sustained winds and then higher gusts, that will likely stay like that all night tonight into tomorrow. So kind of cool. I got to admit, it's kind of cool to be over in those situations. You know, as a meteorologist inside, hurricanes go by, and I've seen a few of them go by. I didn't see a drop of rain. It's kind of a bummer for a weather guy, right? All right, let's talk about that rain that we have here in place because it is going to affect our weather just a little bit. I want to show you where we're forecasting it to fall, and what's really going to happen is there's sinking air essentially. There's rising air near the storm, and then when you go out a certain distance, it starts to sink, depending on the size of the storm. And that's where we're going to be tomorrow. So this is the forecast model for tonight, and I'm going to run it out through tomorrow morning, and it basically stays dry. This is about 8:30 in the morning, all right? Now, you can see the rain offshore, and what you probably did notice is this has actually moved a little northeast by that time. Okay, so but just starting, right? So it's just starting to pull away. We still have these lines of showers coming at us. The bulk of it's going to stay offshore. All right, this west side moisture that you see there that we have out there now, I think that stays a little bit closer to shore tonight, though, for sure, and gets closer, but it should still stay offshore, which means that the Daytona, the East Coast, Ormond, even the Cape, will be seeing a little bit more of this. Okay, now, as the day wears on tomorrow, look at Tampa. This is around 8:30 in the morning. And that's, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I put a 10% chance for a shower because when we heat things up, we will get 1 or 2 showers, but not much. I'd be more concerned about what's coming up here through Gainesville down to basically the villages. 1 or 2 of those survive, and it's just a quick passing shower, just like what we saw out there today. So we're not talking any severe weather, nothing like that. The East Coast will have a slightly better chance for some rain. All right, so you've got moisture there. Yes, the system's pulling away, but see these wind arrows right here? You see all that? That's a really good fetch of wind going across the water there. And that's going to push some of this moisture back up towards the beaches. So especially you get Cocoa Beach southward tomorrow, better chance for rain in the late afternoon and the evening hours. This is 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Now, as we move through Wednesday, we'll start with an isolated shower. That's part of that moisture I was talking about coming in from the north, all right? But not a lot, so don't worry about Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, we have enough moisture around that we're going to pop up a shower storm in that northeast flow. It's more moisture coming in the mid-levels than what we've seen, and that's the only reason for that, okay? So a smaller rain chance on Wednesday. That's Wednesday evening. Now watch as we go into Thursday. You're going to see the moisture, especially down south and over in the southeast, starting to pick up a little bit. This is 11 a.m. Thursday, and then by the time we get in the afternoon, look what's happening. We're actually seeing the rain chance increase down south on Thursday, a little bit further to the north on Friday, and then Saturday, kind of the bulk of it's here. There is a frontal boundary stalling down to the south over South Florida. It's actually redeveloping, if you will. And that is creeping to the north on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Saturday and Sunday, it's kind of right over top of us. And as a result, we have to increase those rain chances as we get into the weekend. So look, it's Monday. We'll see what the weekend looks like here, but that's what the models are showing right now. It makes sense with the high that is pushing some of that wind, and it's going to help to push some of the storms out. As it builds southward, it's going to be pushing against that moisture down over South Florida. So that's going to stall it. And then it's finally going to weaken, and that's going to allow it to move northward. And so it kind of makes sense just looking at the model runs. Here's what I want to see happen, and it's a northeast wind, so we're going to get a good chance of at least drying out a little bit. But look at the dew points. Low 70s now, 70, 73. So I saw one or two about 74. But Wednesday, Thursday, breezy. Friday, breezy. That's going to feel good. I mean, it's not quite a nice break, but it almost is in the humidity. That's what we're looking at here, obviously, what that humidity is going to feel like for you. Okay, 8:20. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll look at the 7-day forecast.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
These big trucks are dangerous and fast. And when it comes to big truck wrecks, the stakes can be really high. That's why you need a lawyer that's gotten big results for his clients. Hi, I'm attorney Dan Newland. I've recovered billions of dollars for accident victims. So if you've been hit by one of these big trucks or involved in a car accident, call me now. Let me fight for you.
At 813-888-8000. That's 813-888-8000.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Secure outdoor equipment and generators. Clear debris from around your AC unit and schedule a pre-storm HVAC and electrical inspection.
Those are some great tips. And Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
Jeopardy is for everybody.
That's amazing. Oh, yeah.
With players just like you.
Paramedic, a retired teacher, psychiatrist.
I'm a little bit competitive.
That's the spirit.
Watch their victories.
We have a giant killer.
And heartbreaks.
Oh, no.
The next super champion could be anyone.
It's almost like a superhero origin story.
It could be you.
Oh, wow.
It's all happening on Jeopardy!
Jeopardy weeknights at 7:30, right here on 10 Tampa Bay.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Now, it's late September. When we get hurricanes this time of the year, we do have a decent shot of getting some cooler and drier air on the backside, depending on which direction they go, what the air is like up to our north. So let's look at what it is now. This is kind of just looking at the overall moisture in the atmosphere. This is not necessarily all dew point, okay? It's not that. But if you notice up to the north, we do have some dry air, okay? We have a lot of moisture on the north side of this, and that is kind of part of the problem. You can see along the southeast coast, we've got a lot of humidity here. This is not going up to the north like this and then trying to grab some of that and bring it back down. This is going that way. So what it would grab, if it goes out this way, what it would grab is just kind of this moisture that's already here. Okay, so it's not going to really pull down a whole lot of dry air. Watch what happens. I want to run this out through Thursday morning, okay? The low itself is now right over here. It's off the coast. Look where the dry air, see where it pulled down? Look at all this dry air. If that had gone to the north, that dry air would be sitting in here like this, but it's not. And so that was on the table. We were actually looking at the chance of getting some really dry air in here if it was going to go into the Carolinas. But now, because it's moving out to sea, we're not going to get that. At least not all of it, right? You can see it's going to be a lot less humid out here over the Atlantic than it will be over Florida by Thursday, all right? Now let's run this back out to, let me back this up again. Here is Thursday. Look what's happening down here. See all this moisture? That is that stalled frontal boundary. Now watch what happens as we go through Friday and into Saturday. It's Saturday afternoon. Trying to develop maybe a weak low sitting out here. It would go that way anyways. But look at all the moisture that comes in. And so that gives us a better rain chance for Saturday and even Sunday. I mean, this is a tropical atmosphere. So I think we get some drier air in as we get into, let's say, maybe Thursday and maybe Friday. But after that, it comes back. And these numbers right here, to me, showing the dew point come back up to 71 on Saturday. If we can get to the upper 60s on Friday, there's a chance. And I harp on this because it makes it feel so much better outside, right? It can be 90 degrees, but if the dew point is 75, it feels bad. If it's 65, it feels a lot better, right? Do we get to the 60s on Friday? We might for a short amount of time, but then I think we go probably pretty quickly Saturday and Sunday back up. We're going to keep a northeast wind and a little more east, but you get any kind of east to southeast wind in there, anything out of the south, it's going to jump that number up there real quick. So that's something we're watching. I think it's bottom line. I think it's kind of a little bit of a seesaw. Nice breeze Thursday and Friday. There will be a few showers around. It's not going to be a rain out by any means Thursday and Friday. And I think there actually be kind of nice days when you factor in that breeze. Okay. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's not a rain out, but a few more clouds, of course, in the mix. And then as we get those afternoon temps to heat up, we're going to get upper 80s to, I went 89 and 90 both days, right? Nothing changing in what we haven't seen recently, but that will have enough moisture in the atmosphere to get that number. And once you get to that number with that much moisture, you make afternoon showers and thunderstorms, right?